So I
Recording is on.
Ooh.
ooh, you're being recorded. Um, I since we really hadn't had a lot of severe weather since we've all taken over for Jim, and we're having some opportunities now to get our feet wet. Some of you, like Billy, first time out on the regional for a long run. I thought that these would be good opportunities to process and especially while it's fresh to go over what went right, what went wrong, what could be better. Um, what went right, y'all were on top of it. As I said in chat, I way overslept today. I had the alarm set for 10. I was crashed and got up and I said, "Have they been running the net?" And Steve's like, "Oh yeah, they've been all over it all day." And I was, "Oh great!" So um, proud of that. The pages were well covered. Um, so that definitely went right. Um, what I'll let you guys start. What went right for you?
Well,
What?
I wasn't overly involved. Of course, I just want to reiterate that Billy does an outstanding job keeping up on the posts. When I first started or even kind of volunteered into this, I thought that I'd have a lot more time. Um, but I'm finding out that I'm having a lot less time. My job is definitely a lot more demanding than I anticipated. And, you know, even on my days off, I don't get that time. And
Yeah,
so I want to thank him for being there. I'm glad he's available. And I wish I had more availability myself. I'm going to try to do that. But as far as me being involved in whatever happened today, I'm thankful that Billy was there. So
I try.
what
Well,
went right? Oh,
you do
go
a
ahead,
really good
Franklin.
you do a really good job, Billy. Whether it's Green County or the regional, either one. You've got that personality and that mentality that you just take everything kind of as it comes. You don't get flustered or frustrated or anything. Like, for the most part on the net, I don't get frustrated too much whenever I have some of these silly people on the regional. Sometimes I'm like, why are you even on there right now? I'm will kind of off the radio to myself or to mom. I'll be like, why the heck did they even say that? You keep an even temperament and tone throughout everything and
Exactly.
everything, and you do a really good job. Thank you.
That calmness, that approachability, that's important when running a net where severe weather is concerned. For people listening, it helps them to remain calm when you are. And as I said in the last one of these, we don't know who's listening. Am I still on?
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, you're
I still
coming
Oh,
hear and see
okay.
you.
My Dropbox is being weird for whatever reason. It says that I'm recording, but I don't know.
It
We'll
says it's
just
recording here.
we'll just say Chrome's having a moment.
Ah,
Um, I
It's
went to
Chrome.
some
What more can you expect?
random page. Uh, uh set up Dropbox. Hey, I think we're good here. Anyway,
okay, Patty.
ding.
How many years have you had it set up? You can tell us now.
Dropbox.
Yeah.
I had it years ago, and I haven't had it in probably 7 or 8. So, this is a brand new
Well, I love
install.
how anymore with the last several major releases of iOS, every time you download an update, it comes up the welcome screen and everything. Like, this is, you just
Yeah.
Took it out of the box
Yeah.
for the first time.
So, what went wrong, if anything?
I think the repeaters responded well. We didn't have trouble connecting those, which is something we've had in the past, I believe. And the weather service was pretty good about getting the warnings and stuff out. The only thing that was frustrating to me was when they first came out with Storm Watch 74, 73, or whatever, and it's 2.5 miles north of the line, south of Joplin to um, you know, 50 miles north of a line, south of, east of Sedalia.
That
And
can
people
get
are like,
wordy and technical, and unless you know Missouri geography really well, I think it loses a lot of people.
I
So
have no
you can
clue.
read that, but
Yeah.
then just know, and I'll try to show you where.
Well,
So I'm going to share.
I have to go look at the map and see because I'm like, the spotters have no clue. They have no clue after
Right.
you know.
So if you can see my screen, I'm on
Yeah.
SPC, and I've gone to the current tornado watch number 75. Okay, and up across, if you go to the actual watch itself, it shows the current weather, the counties involved, the probabilities. You can screenshot this and share it, but even better, you can click where it says counties, and voila, it has this. Now, you still have to know which of those would be our counties
Right.
to read through, but it is there. So it does become available. It takes a little time. Sometimes it's easier to just screenshot this and post it with that watch initially until it actually posts from our weather service what counties are involved. So that's what I've found over time. There's a lot of good information in here. It also tells what the current warnings are, and any related stuff, just for your information there.
Wow, that's helpful.
Yeah.
And one thing that might possibly go along with that, if anyone wants it, I can email a copy of it to them. Here some time ago, I took one of the sheets that had all 37 counties on a map of Missouri and Kansas, and that we had gotten from a spotter training. And I went to the library and I scanned it in on a thumb drive as a PDF. So that has really helped me. I haven't got all of them, but okay, I know, okay, that sounds like one of our counties, and I think I know about where it's at. So a lot of times I'll have it on the computer, but I won't actually have it up on the screen. I'll just click on it and it'll pop up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's where it's at, and that is one of our counties.
So the other thing you can do, let's just go to current day 1. When you get something from SPC, across the top of the page, you can do CWA.
Yeah.
And our little corner of the world is right here. So, and that'll give you an idea too, just in relation to everything else going on. I've tried to make some screenshots of this when I've posted, to give other people an idea, especially if this enhanced light creeps up in here, that they get an idea of just what part of the CWA is being affected. So
they came out pretty quick with this one that covered the CWAs involved, and that was kind of weird too. That they issued one and they came out with one with the counties on it, so that cleared it up. But it was just kind of weird how it came out so fast like that. And the first one was real confusing. But when you tell people counties, they're happy. They know what counties are.
Sure.
Sure. And that helped when they reissued that, I think, from the local office instead of the SPC.
Right, and you can always say when you read those counties to follow, and as soon as I have them, you'll have them, um, and that way people aren't sitting there going, "Well, what is he talking about?" So,
Yeah,
you know,
because
I've noticed
sometimes.
that. I've noticed that too. Sometimes when you look at a watch when it's just freshly issued,
Mhm.
and it may have just been issued even from the National Weather Service, and it's not even up on the SPC
it
site
takes,
yet.
yeah, they get notification that real early on, and the until they get their new bank of computers in, we're going to see delays, sometimes up to 10 or 15 minutes before it will show on the SPC and on their pages. I get real
Uh huh.
frustrated. They'll put a new weather graphic up, and I keep refreshing the page, and it's like, well, I guess I'll go make dinner and come back. It's just the nature of the beast, and we'll get there. We'll get there. They'll get there. I heard that the new supercomputers are supposed to be on sometime later, maybe this year, first of next year. That will help. Um, Pardon me for my lisp. I'm getting used to wearing my uppers all the time.
Oh, that's
I
right.
finally have them stretched out where they don't pinch me so bad. Um, so things that I kind of picked up on today that I thought I'd bring up today is watch the storms themselves on radar, and when it starts getting into the licking area, maybe a county over, go ahead and bring that link up. If you don't know where it is, best advice, look it up on Google Maps and kind of familiarize yourself with it. The same with the Houston link.
Mhm.
By the way, did that get brought down?
I never did. Did you take it down, Billy?
No, I left them
Not.
both up.
Okay, I
Yeah,
can go ahead and take that down.
yeah. The licking had been taken down, but the Houston was still up. I think. If it caught it, we don't know.
Yeah,
Um.
I kind of it gave me its call sign and everything. I could
Oh,
hear.
good, 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 good,
Yeah,
good. So,
Houston, right there.
and they're a funny bunch. There's a
7,000.
whole bunch of them check in on Tuesday night on the net, and you never hear them during an event. Um, I
What
don't know.
counties are those in?
So licking is. Let me do
Texas
this.
County.
It is Texas. Licking is,
Mm-hmm.
and Houston is too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, so it covers a good portion of that. Well, the licking and Preston repeaters, the folks from Raleigh can get into those. Houston, down into Teresa's part of the country, that's got good coverage. And if you're in a high spot, even in Shannon County, you can hear it. Um, so that opens up a window. We're still shy of something down toward Mountain Grove, although I have had someone from there check in through the Houston link. I don't know what kind of tower he's got, but
Hmm.
so just be mindful they're there as the storms march across and up and down. Um, and I'm going to emphasize ask for spotter reports. You start getting significant weather advisories, you start getting warnings. Read the warning out and make it your own. You don't have to do verbatim, but as soon as you do that, do I have any spotters in the affected area? Um, and get check-ins if you can, and then write them down so you know where they're at. Ask them for their location, and then when the reports come in, it gets a little easier that you can just confirm, are you still in your original location? you know um, I got probably 50 check-ins the last net I wrote, and or the last net I ran, and I think it was because I was on there just constantly saying, do I have any reports from the affected areas? And I made sure that they knew that I wanted those reports. I did hear people checking in with you, Billy. I thought that was great. They let you know where they were. Unfortunately, the guy in Cassville probably wasn't going to see anything severe today, but it was good he was there. And so, and that's something that we haven't all been good at. I haven't either. So we just have to kind of remind ourselves, and maybe we can hold ourselves accountable. If I'm not around to throw a little reminder up, don't forget the links. Don't forget to ask for check-ins and reports. Feel free to do that in chat and remind each other, till we can get ourselves beefed up in that respect.
Oh.
Go ahead, Liz.
Well, I had to go to Springfield. I was watching the Weather Channel, and about 10:45, they said, "Oh, the SPC put out a mesoscale discussion," and I didn't get to look at it, but we jumped in the car and went to town to go by the bank. So while she was in there, I read I read the mesoscale discussion, and then I just said, okay, the SPC says that we're going to get us possibly a tornado watch in the next. It's 80% in the next between 12 and 1. So you never want to read the whole darn thing on there because it's too technical. And
right.
But that scared up Kelly and Heather and the K0OLD, and then when Billy got it in there, that it had scared up a guy in Carthage. So
yeah.
We need to be sure somebody does that so you can get people's attention.
Sure, and something as simple as the Storm Prediction Center in Norman has a mesoscale discussion for our area. And we are monitoring. We'll keep you apprised of any watches to follow. And, just something that simple. You don't even have to go into the text because it is so technical. Good idea, Lewis. And thank you for doing that today.
Yeah. And Lewis, you were a big help to me this morning because I was coming from the outlook from the way it was last night and had not gotten the chance to see the update on where the slight risk was versus where the marginal risk was. And I was getting ready to leave the house to head out here, so I was kind of wondering what it was going to do while I'm away from the house.
Right.
I just wrote me 2 reminders. Of course, it'll predicate that I actually see them, but don't forget to bring the Licking in the Houston link up, and don't, forget
Ask
to ask
for reports. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
And I'm going to put them right here in the middle on the bottom of my monitor, and hopefully I will see them.
Very good. That's what I do at work with some stuff. Little stickies.
Yeah.
What I have up on my screen here is one of the first screenshots I took with radar this morning when I was saying to watch the storm that was coming into that was in Taney County. This is the one that ultimately went warned in green. My concern was twofold. You notice how the line is behind it. And quite often we will see a supercell pop up in front of those lines. They do tend to go severe. It had 2 hail cores on it, so this was more of a multi-celled supercell, but it still had supercellular characteristics. And that caught my attention. The fact that it came across the Arkansas line and just went bloom. that told me too. I don't know if the temperatures are showing on this particular one, but it was 70 degrees where that was, and when it first happened, and it was just 61 in Springfield. So it had a little soupier air to work with. This shot is when it did go warned in Greene County, and I posted that. So when the Weather Service went on and said that they were getting so much rain it was obliterating the radar, this was the image that was coming out, and I want you to see what happened once it cleared the radar.
Mm.
Can you see the difference in this?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That was a tremendous amount of water coming down.
that is.
So I thought that was just interesting. And I was grateful that they had brought that up.
Yeah, because until they brought that up, I really had noticed it myself, and then it looked like kind of on radar scope there was just kind of almost like a hole kind of over
Right,
center
and
Springfield, and then
Right.
afterwards, it looked different.
so, keep in mind that the radar is affected when the storms are on top of it. It shoots out and away. It can't shoot on itself, or straight up.
Yeah.
It gets close, but it can't go straight up. Um, so it isn't necessarily weakening coming across screen. How would, and I'm going to throw this one at Billy. So you've got the net. You've read your warning and you're kind of on hold. There aren't any spotter reports, but you feel like you need to give a radar report. How would you describe this radar to those that are listening?
In the greater Springfield Metroplex, so we have potential torrential downfalls at this time.
Okay.
Because I think they termed it torrential at the Weather Service office.
They did. If you notice on here, though, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning in this area with the potential for hail to the size of quarters and 60-mile-per-hour winds.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Predominantly, this storm has moved into the eastern and southeastern portions of Springfield area. Northern Greene County also is covered by a cell that appears to have hail in it. Do I have any reports from this area? You can kind of go from there. Or do I have any spotters south of Nixa that might have any hail reports for me? And if you notice that someone did report some hail down in that area.
Yeah, I had one in, down below Nixa, whatever it is that town.
Right.
Nixa.
Right.
I can't remember which one he was, Brian or John. Maybe.
Probably Brian.
Probably Brian.
Okay, Brian.
Hey, Patty, on that
Yeah.
last image that you were asking Billy to describe,
Uh-huh.
would it also be prudent to say that the line as it's coming through Springfield, it appears to be bowing from about I-44 to the James River Freeway?
That would be quite appropriate.
Okay.
Your radar is a little bit more clear than what mine is.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
As much as I love radar scope, this is just blows radar scope out of the water.
It does.
It blows Stormlab out of the water too, and I loved my Stormlab, but yeah, this is level 2 data, and that's what's amazing about the rain on here, because level 2, the difference between level 2 and level 3 is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
For it to be showing that high of a signature for the rain coming down was pretty grand. I do pay monthly for this, so I don't advise it to everybody.
Yeah.
I hope I can continue once I retire, because I love this radar.
Oh,
It
I feel the same
also,
way, Patty.
yeah, it gives me tracking. If you notice on this image, it actually, I clicked on the little arrow and it brought up the towns in the path.
Mhm.
And that was based on it going due northeast, but still,
Now, see, I like that. In radar scope, it will give you the track and it'll give you hash marks and tell you what time it should be at that hash mark, but it doesn't specifically give you the cities. You have to see what town or city is close to that.
right,
yeah.
right. Where this gives timing.
Yeah.
And I was able to utilize that when I did the net the last time. This was the tornado possible tag. Can you see where it would be on that radar?
Would it be up there just south of Coal Camp?
Yes, sir, it would.
That real dark.
I was looking at that notch and then, yeah, that dark area
real
that
dark.
Billy was talking about. It almost looks like it's curving back around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I call it the notch factor.
Mhm.
Typically the northeastern portion of a line where it notches in like that is where you need to watch for those. I did not get a good velocity on that, or I would have also screenshotted it. I actually am in the Kansas City radar to get this. I had to switch because we just weren't getting good data. It's right on the fringe of ours,
The
and
edge.
it's still kind of to the edge of Kansas City too, but they just had a better image of it.
Gotcha.
And then this was ultimately when it and you can really see it at the on this image where it's notched in.
Mhm.
Then
Hey,
it be,
Pat,
yeah,
where it says tornado radar indicated and right below Versailles tornado possible.
there were two.
There's a
There were two.
okay, there's a .75 that's listed
That's
on both
hail.
of them.
That's
Okay,
hail.
that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't real sure.
Right, yeah, that's hail.
Well, and if I'm reading that correctly, that would be less than 0.75, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, the on this it gives hail and it gives wind. It was also because, well, I can't. I cropped it a little close, I think. That was a severe thunderstorm warning that had the tornado possible tag in it.
Mhm.
There is another notch right before right under the tornado warning
Okay.
where that possibly was. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of things about WSV3 that's awesome.
yeah, it's great radar. I get a little frustrated if I have to really zoom in sometimes to get a good radar under the wording, but I think that's invaluable. If I'm gonna screenshot this, which I can do in the program, by the way, I don't have to do it myself. I can zoom into what I want that the public needs to know, and I've got that image saved. I set up a folder for each event, and that way it's saving into the same folder. I don't have to go hunting for it, and I just give them numbers, 1 through whatever, as I go through. This is all in folder 4721. And again, we had tornado possible. We had a little notch right under the word tornado there.
Mhm.
That was probably where it is or was.
One thing I've noticed about that program that's really neat, especially if you have a warning that's like a tornado emergency, if you zoom in close enough, you'll actually see that wording on the warning itself,
Right.
along with the overlay of the flash of the warning. It's really kind of neat.
And I don't know if you noticed the discoloration of my screen. but off to the right-hand side between like Warrenton and Washington, you'll see the line. That's actually the watch area.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
what,
it kind
well,
of
that's what I was wondering because I was looking at that back screen and I'm thinking, were we under a tornado watch?
The severe thunderstorm watch, and it shows the entire area. Yeah,
Big slice, right?
So,
big
so
slice.
do you have yours for severe thunderstorm colored as red?
It was flashing, and so when there's a watch in place, the screen kind of flashes
Uh
in the graphics, and it just happened to be flashing when I caught that shot.
Oh, okay.
So, and it moved on. I think that was just one I posted. And here we go. It fired back up. I thought these were going to do a little more as they went off to the east. They really fell apart.
Mhm.
But you can really see the outline of the watch area in this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just slightly different colored.
Yeah, and it seems like around the edge, it's kind of got like almost like a highlight, and it's kind of almost a slightly contrasting color. Kind of that way you can see it pretty good.
Mm-hmm. You really can. Those just some of what I grabbed today. These storms weren't really. I mean, there was wind, but at this point they were kind of falling apart.
Could you go back to the last image for just a
Sure.
second? Because I had a question. It's not really something that went wrong, and it's not really something that we really necessarily have control over. This has happened a couple times, and it always stumbles me up. I had a watch or warning, probably a thunderstorm warning that I was reading, and it tripped me up because I had St. Elizabeth, SAINT, and then I had St. Elizabeth, ST. Is that two different cities, or are they
No,
using the
they're
same spelling?
using the same. Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same place, they're just using two different spellings in the product.
Right.
I wish they wouldn't do that. Pick one and stick with it.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Maybe bring that up in the next IWT.
I will if I can remember it. I'll have to write it
Make a
down.
note. Make a note.
I'll have to write it down.
So I still have. This is what's left of our little thing, and look at the wind reports now. Coming out, we've got 60 mile per hour wind, 42 mile per hour wind, 62. They've got more mesonettes as you get out east. I wish we had more of those. The real activity is going on down here right now, and there is
Louisiana.
and it's actually outside of the watch area. So
Real
tornado
quick,
watch 75.
hey Patty, did you create an event for this?
I did not create an event for this.
Okay. So are there certain criterias that you're following? Like it needs to be something, if they announce it within like 3 days or something, is that typically when you would do something like that?
The events got confusing, and I noticed on my own phone they're hard to access to put reports onto.
Okay.
So
some other
what I'm doing instead, I'm putting a post, and Franklin's doing this in Greene County too. I'm bookmarking a post and making it an announcement where spotters can go. So there's one place on the page that they can put their reports.
Okay. So you're pinning it to the top.
I'm pinning it. Right.
Basically, yeah. It's the same effect, except for with an announcement, you can have more than one. The most recent unread one will show up, and then there's a little button you can click that says see all, and then that'll bring up all the current announcements. And then whenever you're done with them, it took me a while to figure this out. You can go in and remove the announcement off of it, and it will come off of that list. So whenever something's not relevant anymore in Greene County, I just remove the announcement so I don't have like 30 different announcements listed there.
So this is it. I shared this graphic with Franklin. Severe weather expected today. You can submit your storm reports here. Admins will be watching, and we will turn those reports in for you. So Jack was the first not to read the instructions. And I'm not even going to try to look for where he just posted something to the page.
Yeah, it was further down.
Yeah, it's way down now. But we did get a report out of Ozark. And I was able, she told me where she was at. She was at work. And I just looked up her workplace on maps and got the address to turn in.
And I actually got one in Walnut Grove today.
Good deal. Good deal. So that's all I had for this event. There we go. I'm back. Anything else you can think of that we could go over while we're here?
Franklin was great when he came in and helped me and helped with the pages, and then he took over the Greene County repeater, and that really helped a lot once we started getting busier, because it was harder to keep up with at that point. And so it was just a great help to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I realize that, and if we can at least just have one person handling Greene County, because unless we just have all heck in for the most part Springfield. I mean, we sometimes have stuff that will kind of skirt like an edge or a corner of the county that doesn't really so much affect Springfield, but really Springfield, if we're not super busy with that, it's usually a lot more relaxed net than the regional is. And so, I mean, just taking that little chunk off of whoever's running the regional helps out a ton.
It does.
And then even with you, Patty, even though you were just doing posting, I was kind of trying to post a little bit of some of the stuff, at least to the two Greene County pages, where maybe you could kind of maybe more focus on the two regional pages, because otherwise I would have not had a lot to do.
I did. It's something that Chrome has started doing with Facebook. When I post to the main page, it gives me the option, because I have the spotter page related to it. It gives me the option to check a box.
Yeah.
And share. Well, I still have to go to the spotter page to share, to let people in Messenger know that, and share from there, because for whatever reason, my community page won't let me do that to a messenger.
It won't let me on Firefox either.
And then if it affects Greene County and I'm doing radar or something, I will flip, go ahead and share it from the spotter page there. But it saves time. It saves time and energy. I like it. I just wish I had Messenger in there.
Gotcha.
But, and I quit looking for things that the media was doing. I just started doing radar updates, and I was grabbing screenshots with the warnings and posting those instead of putting the graphic up for thunderstorm warning.
Okay.
When I was posting, and I noticed that those were getting a lot of shares.
Well, yours are really beautiful screenshots, though.
It works from other radar programs too. And people get the idea this is the area that's affected, instead of just a graphic saying, hey, all you folks up in whatever county, I think I like that, and it's something to maybe store away if you're posting. Um, Give them that visual.
Mhm.
I think it's helpful, and if they're not affected, they can relax. You
Mhm.
know,
Well, and see, that's why I like, and I'm sure you can do it in WVS3 too. In fact, I think I've seen you do it. But that's why I like in Radar Scope where you can use the pen tool and you can annotate on the screen. Because that's like earlier this afternoon when they were talking about that Boeing segment coming out of McDonald County, I circled it and then traced in front of the bow so that people could see,
could see
okay,
what
this
was.
is what they're talking about here on the radar. This is where it's
Oh, that's
at.
excellent. Excellent. I think those things are helpful to the public.
Yeah.
They want to know. Um, and well, let's just pick a spot here. I pulled. Wow, this goes all the way up north of Des Moines, all the way to the Gulf. So that would be KSHV. We'll switch to their radar.
And have you heard any rumblings about what they're talking about for Friday?
Evidently more the same. Kind of keeping an eye on that because
Yeah, I
I'm
guess I
kind of
must
wondering
have.
what our moisture levels are going to be like Friday.
so let me share again here.
I guess I must have missed it up until this morning because I didn't realize we were supposed to get some stuff in Friday night.
Yeah. So you have basically a tornado warning on top of a severe thunderstorm warning in here.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I can click interact
Mm-hmm.
and, well, or probe. Huh?
Yeah.
I thought I could do it with interact. It's not letting me.
All kinds of stuff.
Well, I would think that that would be it because that kind of looks like.
A pen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rodney, you remember?
I mean, interact is supposed to be your pin.
All I'm getting is dragging the screen.
Click explore and then click interact again.
Nope.
I wonder if it's interfering with the fact that we're screenshotting or something.
Well, I'm not. Well, maybe. Maybe. Let me stop sharing and see if that
Let me
helps.
open up mine. Have you updated to the newest version?
Yes, I have.
Maybe they've done.
And it cleared up some glitches, but maybe we have a new glitch.
An update that clears up an old glitch and makes a new glitch? Surely it doesn't.
Oh man, you'd be surprised how many glitches.
That's called Microsoft.
Oh no, this was the program itself.
Yeah, I know, but
What area are
Microsoft
you-
always makes a new glitch when they get rid of some.
Down here.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell me about it, Lewis. They do that with the Xbox all the time.
all right, so
How many complaints I've heard about
I'm waiting.
Cold War game.
So if I click interact, oh look, it's doing the same thing. What the heck?
Yeah, evidently that.
That functionality doesn't seem to be there.
Yep, it must. Unless now I had to go in and readjust a whole bunch of stuff that I thought I had set. It deleted a lot of my preferences.
Probe isn't even working for me either.
Well, probe's working. I can actually.
And I'm waiting on my.
I can actually do that.
I need to find a good radar. Maybe I need to have access to my radar. Oh, here we go.
KSHV.
I know what it is. It only probes if it recognizes the actual
Warning.
well, the actual precipitation. Like if
Oh.
so when I click clicked over here in the tornado box, it wasn't letting me do anything because it couldn't see it. Okay, now I'm seeing it. All right. So let's see here. Do interact. It is not doing it. Huh. They need to send a bug report to them because I liked having that feature. Unless we
Yeah, that was a great feature.
Oh, don't do that. Don't hold down control.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because being able to mark up right there on the map, I think that's very helpful.
Ooh, not good. And I get one thing too, it kind of messes up when you're trying to do velocities. If you've got the national going at the same time, you get a lot of this. So,
It makes me wonder if I ought to go on to their support forum and see if other people are saying anything about it. Because, I mean, that's kind of frustrating.
a little bit. But it is a good program in so many ways, and I like the graphics. I like the way it explains what's going on. I also like the fact that I can go onto SPC and overlay the products. So here is the current convective outlook. Let's just look at Friday. So that's what we're expecting Friday at this point.
Kind of busy there. It's hard to see.
Yeah, it is a little bit. The slight risk. The slight risk is real good. We're not even in the marginal yet. That may change. And I've made it do too much.
Ron wasn't too worried about it today, so hopefully it'll stay that way.
Hopefully. We're locked up.
If it wouldn't have been for the fact there's all that shear, it probably would have been blah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it still does that.
Runs out of memory or something.
Something. I had it doing a lot too, so. But anyway, I think we're blathering at this point. Blathering. Turn that off. It does pull up mesoscale discussions as well. It takes that a bit to load. There we go. That's the current mesoscale discussion. They're talking about downstream. I question it if the tornado warning's not in it. But I'm not I'm not Norman. So and it does real good on the winter graphics. I've been very pleased with that. So
I like the fact with that program that you can see the dew points.
oh yeah.
You can see the outlook overlays. That's a nice feature with that.
And you can even take it to, okay, let's just do probability of tornado. They'll actually break it down just like the products from the SPC. It's going to make a liar out of me. So day 1, categorical. Day 1, probable tornado. I'm not seeing it. Huh. Oh, it's flashing. Yeah, it's flashing it. So have to have to learn to read it. But I get in here sometimes and play, so I know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like the rest of the programs. I don't think the frontal boundaries are exactly where this marks them. I think it's a little lagged,
Mhm.
but better than some.
Gotcha.
That-
Better than none, like on Radar Scoop.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I had it when I had Allison House.
Yeah.
But I
But see, that's the only way that I found that you can get that is you have to have the Allison House account.
I wasn't going to pay for two.
Oh no, I completely understand that because they're both pricey.
So the front obviously is further east than it says it is, based on the temperatures.
Hmm.
So
Oh, Patty, I found it.
you found it?
Yeah, so interact is a little different. I almost like that button's been removed, but if you use Control T, it allows you to illustrate. So when you pull down from the WSV3 main deal, it'll say Telestration, and it says Start Paintbrush, Control T, and Clear Paintbrush is just the space bar.
Oh, okay. So there we go.
Aha!
Thank you. Uh, uh, turn it off.
Hit the space bar.
I did.
Well, maybe you have to do Control T again to turn it
Ah,
off.
I had
Space
to
is
I
just
had
clear.
to actually go back in and clear paintbrush.
Ooh.
Now I got all my tracks back that I didn't want.
yeah, so Control T again, and that turns it off. But that's just
Okay.
weird that button's not doing.
So
So,
here, I was saying earlier about the difference in level 2 and level 3 data. So while we've got this up, this is level 2. This is level 3.
Mhm.
Level 3 looks a lot more intense, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Also looks brighter too.
Yeah,
Kinda.
kind of. Level 3 breaks it down where there's a lot of smoothing in level 3
Mhm.
that can fool you into thinking there's a lot more precipitation there than there is. Where level 2 really breaks it down into here are the heavier areas, here are the lighter areas.
I guess I can see what you mean by it looks more intense because it does look like
It looks
some of those
sharper.
oranges and reds that there's more of it covering a wider area.
Right, right.
But
Especially
but
in the green. If you watch the green here,
yeah, but to me, I don't think it looks like it looks like it's wider, but I don't think it looks like it's as dark a color or as I would interpret it as intensity. The level 2 looks more intense to me. It just doesn't look like it's covering quite as wide an area.
right. So it actually, I think, picks up the actual precipitation better.
Hmm.
Is what I'm saying.
I gotcha.
There's embedded in the green. There are some areas of heavier rain.
Hmm.
That level 3 says, maybe not.
Yeah. And then like that stuff that's kind of in between Natchez and Alexandria. On this, it looks like that the kind of that darker orange and kind of starting to get into the red is kind of a little bit more wider spread, covers a larger area. When you go back to level 2, to me, what is there looks more intense as in intensity. It's just it's not covering as much of that area.
Right, right. And if you look out toward Meridian, east of Jackson along I-20, well, that must be based off the national radar because that didn't change.
You're all right,
But
sweetie.
anyway, I got spoiled with level 2.
I hear you.
I got spoiled with level 2. So glad to have it. There evidently have been there's been some hail in this stuff in East Texas.
I guess the one question that I've always had about WSV3, even though it is a neat feature, you have the tilt feature where you can actually tilt the map up and look like underneath that storm. Yeah, exactly. What is the advantage of that, actually? Other than it looking cool.
Would it be just like a quick visual way to see how high the storms are instead of a traditional echo top?
3D.
Probably.
Well, the problem
Well-
is it doesn't do a 3D thing, kind of like Analyst. All it does is just
It just
kind of
yeah.
skews it
Okay, I got you.
I think
Ye-
that in the future he's gonna probably add that
or charge more for it.
or charge more for it. Exactly. Um, and that feature may be in the media version of this that we don't get.
Yeah, I'm
That's
wondering
the only
about
way
that
I've
too.
ever seen it.
Is
That's the only way.
with the media using it? You mean?
Yeah, because well, 33 used to do it a lot. They don't anymore since they got joined in with KY3.
Right.
But there's another. I was watching somebody on Weather Channel uses somebody's radar often, and they did that.
Don't they have their own radar?
But that helps you see how deep the rotation is.
Right.
And
Right.
the correction to that, Rodney, is KY3 has their own radar. KSPR is not allowed to touch.
KY3 and KSPR are synonymous.
Oh, no. You haven't noticed that KSPR is the wicked redheaded stepchild of the two?
I think that's actually Color 10 if you think about it, because Color 10 I think is pretty much independent.
Well, have you know?
Well, 10 is an independent, and I tell you what, I would almost lay a bet on Jamie over Ron some days on the
Mhm.
reports. They're both good. Don't get me wrong. But Jamie can break it down in a way the public really, I think, can grab onto. I had him going at work one night. There was a bad storm just rolling through the Ozarks, and even my boss, who's been a KY3 addict for years, is like, I think I'm going to start watching this guy.
I would say my limited interaction that I've had with the two of them and more observing both of them at the IWT meetings, Jamie seems maybe slightly a little bit more plain spoken, and Ron is a little bit more technical.
Ron is almost an idiot savant where the weather's concerned,
Yeah.
which isn't a bad thing. But yeah, unless he gets to, well, and the other thing is, unless he gets to know you, he's a little standoffish. I can relate. I'm kind of that way.
I don't know if it's necessarily that he's standoffish or if it's, and this maybe come across as standoffish. I think he's one of those people that if he doesn't know you very well, he tends to not interact.
No, that would be standoffish.
I guess so. See, I consider standoffish kind of not necessarily that I'm kind of maybe afraid to talk to people, or that's just kind of not my typical mood to the get away from me, I absolutely don't want to talk to you. Which I don't think is the way Ron is. So maybe I just have a different ideal of what standoffish is.
Data. Define standoffish.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you all 15 definitions in all 80 million dictionaries throughout the galaxy.
We might be here a while, Franklin.
We might be. We might be.
End up all going to sleep over the over the Tootsie.
I think it'd be kind of cool if I could somehow get the voice of Brent Spinner and make
Spiner.
that my Google Spiner. Sorry.
You're welcome.
Anyway.
So one thing you might do if you do that is alter it in what's that program Steve uses? Begins with an A.
It's
Alter
not
it.
Audacity.
Audacity, yes.
Okay.
Alter his voice just a little bit in Audacity.
What the heck?
Anyway, you can get those voices, alter them a little bit so that the bots don't catch it, so you don't get a copyright infringement. Either tenure it up, take it down.
Just do it half speed so it sounds like drunken Jeff Goldblum.
It's not 8:10. I was watching it. Come in here like everybody. Do you want me to leave now?
So I guess Kevin Lighty's got his hands full right now a little bit.
Oh, why's that?
Well, this is Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, well, I forgot he moved. But the last storm that we had that came through, I think the one on St. Patrick's Day, I actually saw his name and his call sign on Radar Scope here in town. So I guess he must have been signed into Spotter Network.
He and his new spouse do still have family and friends here.
Cool.
And so they do visit from time to time. And since one of their friends happens to be Doug, and Doug has a boat on the lake, you know where they're at.
No, yeah, I don't.
So,
well, absolutely, Patty.
Hey, I'd be down on the lake if I just had the house and no boat.
So, I didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that just yet. I was going to show you where I'm going to be when I am out of touch. So, my ultimate destination in 2 weeks is going to be in here.
You're going to be in my computer?
I gotta share it again.
It is a Mac Pro, but I don't think there's enough room for you to fit.
With a name like Caseta, you gotta watch those people.
Caseta?
Casita.
Casita? Casita? Caseta?
And where is that exactly?
Georgia.
That's what I was going to say. I thought you had said they were in Georgia before.
Right. So, in relation to the world, because Casita disappears, Columbus is the next biggest. They are right on the edge of Fort Benning, which is all of this area to the north of there. And 3 hours from the Gulf. Come on, mousey. Scroll it out.
Right mouse button, didn't just pull backwards.
Now, see, I don't know what.
Don't do that until it stops, and then you have to restart the program again.
See, I don't know what part of the state he was from, and I probably should look that up sometime. But James Longstreet, which was Joe Johnston and Robert E. Lee's second in command of the Army of Northern Virginia, was from Georgia.
Ah,
He was of Dutch ancestry, and he is the one that the South blamed the entire loss of the Civil War on afterwards.
so we have two generals that were built up from Missouri. Pershing was, I can't remember what town now.
Was he around here close to Springfield?
No,
but not in
both
Springfield?
of them were north of I-70.
Okay.
One was, and Bradley was from not Marshall, but near there, and I can't remember where else Steve and I went.
See, I was thinking, and I guess I must have misunderstood, or I was
Patty, I'm
completely
gonna have to
wrong.
go.
All right,
All right, I'll see you
Bye.
later.
thanks for joining
Thanks, Elaine, Rodney.
I was thinking that the reason that Pershing was so popular down around here was because he was from down around here. But I
Seems
must
like,
be mistaken.
was it up by Warrensburg or somewhere?